Hi, welcome to Variety of Life Podcast Episode 4. I'm here with one of my friends, Sarah. Say hello.
Hello. It's fun to be here.
I forgot to upload last week, so I'm sorry.
No, it's all
I,
good.
I got really busy with college and everything, so.
Oh, hey, that's perfectly understandable. I just started my psychology this Tuesday.
Oh,
No, no, no.
really?
Yeah, no, no, no. Yes, Wednesday
Yes?
actually. And I did
Oh, you filthy
like two
liar.
chapters, three assignments, and a
Oh my.
paper. I finished it today. So,
Yeah, I
there's
don't I don't have that much work yet because I'm just an intro to psychology.
oh, it's really nice. You'll love developmental psychology. It's so cute. I'm in general psychology though right now, and I'm liking it. It's not bad. I like developmental better because they had cute baby videos in it. It was like, watch this adorable baby like make noises and pull a balloon with its leg, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the best. This is the best class ever.
So I had Miss Hannah on a couple weeks ago, I think.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah,
And I want to bring her back on now because I feel like I have a lot more to talk about with like generally stuff in
yeah,
psychology because now I've been in the college class, and I
right.
do have to admit, and this is probably a mistake because my mom watches these. I haven't read a lot of the textbook because
Oh, I went straight to
because
the quizzes.
oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
you're not the only one.
I haven't read much of the textbooks because basically everything's just going over again what I learned in the high school class. So
Right.
I'm kind of just going off of that memory, and I'm still getting like A's and stuff. So that's cool.
I mean, like, if you're getting A's, it's not really a problem until you reach a point where you don't know the material and you're like, "Oh no."
Yeah.
But I mean, you're really smart, Evan, so you got it.
Oh yeah, I got it until I get an F.
There you go. That was like me in astronomy. I was like, I remembered everything, but I didn't have my books yet because my college said, "Hey, even though we started a month ago, your books aren't available until September." Oh, great. So I had to take my astronomy class, and she gave us notes for the quiz. And of course, because this is how it goes, the notes did not help with the quiz at all, and I failed the quiz, and I got really upset about it, and
Awesome.
it
Did they
was
let you retake it?
no.
Wow.
I went from 100 to an 82.
Oh, that's gotta hurt. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's gonna be hard to make up that grade. So
I've
I'm
gotta
just like
say, I'm
praying
not
at this point.
surprised they didn't let you retake it, but that is definitely their fault.
Yeah, it's not, yeah, because I had gotten my books after I took that quiz because it was due that day. So I had to take it, and the notes did not reflect the quiz whatsoever.
Time to bring back our old friend Google.
Yeah, that's the funny part. Usually you'll have classes where you're like, oh my gosh, the teacher just copied this Quizlet, which is in my psychology class, so it's really funny. But But yeah, there's actually something that happened in my psychology class that I want to talk to you about after this. You would find it fascinating. I know you would. It was an experiment, but before, let me get to my astronomy and physics. Finish that basically. So with the astronomy class, I didn't have my books and I had to take the quiz no matter what. It was 14 questions and I got 7 wrong, so I got a 50. So that was very upsetting. But, I'm gonna try my best to try to bring it back up, though. It's not gonna be good.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah,
But what can you do in that situation?
right. And moving on to the what I learned in psychology, the paper that I had to write on, which I think Miss Hannah would find this fascinating, was the Stanford Prison Experiment. Do you know that one?
Uh, no, not particularly.
Well, if would you mind if I explained it? Give a brief.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
So the Stanford Prison Experiment was I forgot the professor's name. It's I know something with a Z. Um. Anyway, so basically, this professor is like, well, I want to see what how a prison affects the mind. And this took place in the 70s, so there weren't really ethical laws and how you could deal with stuff to do
Oh yeah.
experiments.
Oh boy.
So he said, okay, group, I'm gonna put out an ad, and it's gonna be for $15 a day for 2 weeks. I'm gonna try to get volunteers and see, like what's gonna happen if we put these people in a prison simulated environment. So what they did was they converted the basement of the Stanford University into a prison. So they took the little closets and whatnot and put prison bars on them, and this mini, like this small little hallway, only enough for somebody to stand up in, was going to be solitary confinement. So they interviewed a lot of people, and they decided on 24 college students because they had the cleanest record. And they asked them, would you rather be a guard or a prisoner and why? But it didn't really matter because all of them were decided at random by flipping a coin if this person was going to be a guard or a prisoner. So the prisoners were just randomly picked up from their house, simulated arrest. An actual police officer knock on their door. They would arrest them in front of their neighbors. They would say you were charged for the murder of something, you were charged for the armed robbery of something, stimulating a real arrest. Then they were brought in. The guards were told, these are prisoners, these are bad people. Don't be afraid to do this. You're gonna have to be proud, be tough. And they dressed the guards in sunglasses so the prisoners cannot see their emotions. And what they did with the prisoners is they stripped them naked to show this embarrassment, right? And by the way, this was all consented in the beginning. It was out of consent. They told the prisoners what was really going to happen. They told the guards what was going to happen. So the prisoners, they're stripped, they're searched, and then they put this gown on them, and they are not allowed to wear anything underneath. So you can understand how humiliating that would be, right?
Yeah.
And instead of cutting their hair, they decided to put caps on them because hair is a sign of individuality. And they assigned a number. So they wouldn't really feel like an individual, they'd more feel like a number. And I'll reflect back more onto that later because that's very important. So this experiment was supposed to last 2 weeks, but only a few days in, the guards became sadistic in how they treated the prisoners. They treated it like they were actually prisoners. And they would do punishments such as, a lot of push ups. They would even not allow prisoners to use the bathroom, making them have to go in their own little bucket in their room, so the prison would smell gross, of course, and it just brought some inhumaneness into it. One prisoner went insane in just 3 days, clinically insane, because there was no windows, no clock, you couldn't tell the time. They had these metal chains on their leg, so that way they were reminded of their entrapment every single day, and they couldn't sleep because once they would turn over with the chain, it would hit the other leg, causing them awake, showing that they couldn't even escape it in their dreams. We were talking about how just unethical this study was, because originally the guards were not allowed to hit the prisoners. They were not allowed to use violence. But of course they broke that, and the people watching them, because there was cameras watching them the entire time, saw it, but they didn't do anything about it because they thought, this is interesting, we want to see where this goes. So after those events, they eventually decided, okay, let's have a little break in the experiment. We're gonna have a visitors day. So they made everybody clean, everybody looked nice. They had the parents come in. The parents were concerned because their kid looked obviously distressed. And so to combat it, the head professor would be like, what, do you think your son can't handle this or something? And then the dad would step in and be like, yes, my son is tough. My son is proud. He can get through anything. to mess with the parents' mind. Like, we're not crazy, you're crazy. And of course, they kept going, and it's reported that one prisoner that was interviewed, said that he felt like he did not have his own identity. He felt like he was 819. That was his number because they were only allowed to say numbers, and the guards were only allowed to be called um Mr. Correction Officer. So they have to say, Mr. Correction Officer, sir. They're talk to a prisoner, it'd be like 412, 819. So the guy felt like he was actually 819. He felt like he was no longer the person he was. He had no name. He was that number. So, with all of this going down, there was even a rebellion and a talk of escapement, which was crazy because this was just not even in a real prison. It was a college experiment. There was one prisoner that they had to let go because he just went too crazy. He was saying stuff like, I'm a bad prisoner, I'm a bad prisoner. And all the other prisoners were lined up by the guard and they said his name. They were like 4-1, all in unison. 412 is a bad prisoner. 4-1.
Oh, I think I dropped connection.
412 was a bad person, and they just said that. Oh, is it
Uh-oh.
good now?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, we're back. I'm not sure what
Okay,
happened there.
cool. But anyways, they were just repeating that over and over. So the guy was he was just crying and crying, crying, and the head professor have to remind him, "Hey, you are enter name here. You are not your number. This is an experiment for a university. You are being paid to do this. You are not being held here against your will." But he was saying like, "I can't leave. I can't leave. I'm a bad prisoner. I need to show that I'm a good prisoner." And they had to remind him, you are a college student. You are not a prisoner. You have done nothing wrong. Once they were finally able to convince him, he said, okay. And they said it was like a child waking up from a nightmare. Because of it's just the emotion it had on anyone. The psychologist himself felt like he was a prisoner warden and not a researcher. He couldn't even identify his independent and dependent variables, which is what you need in an experiment. So he was like, "Okay, this is too much." And out of 2 weeks, you want to know when they ended it?
First 5 days.
Yeah, you're right. 6 days. In the first 6 days, all of that stuff happened. And it's later recorded that the guards never felt like they would do any of what they did in their lives when they reflect back on what they did, because they humiliated, they shamed them. There was so much violence, it was horrible. And it is because of those experiments, though, how we were able to understand the mindset of like POW camp guards or Nazi guards and officers. And we were able to understand what goes in the mind of those prisoners themselves. Because if you can imagine those people being in there for less than 6 days, those prisoners with a number, think about um, how a Nazi prisoner or somebody who was in a concentration camp who was a prisoner felt that was stuck there for years and seeing their friends and family members die.
Right.
And it was just saying how unethical. There is a debate on how if the consequences, like if the benefit outweighs the trauma that these patients were given. I say no. I say they should have stopped it as soon as they saw too much abuse and they would have had their final results there. They should not have let it go on. They should have canceled it as soon as they saw those signs. What do you think?
Well, first off, I want to start at the very beginning of what you said. $15 a day for, even if it didn't turn out horrible like this, $15 a day for a simulated prison sentence is not enough.
I agree. Even though it was in the 70s, that still was so little because of the psychological trauma that came along with it. Because you're not gonna let somebody break your finger for like $50 a day,
Right.
and they do it again and again and again, but you get $50. No, you're not gonna do that. because your finger is more important than that $50 a day. At least I'd hope you think so. So your brain it's too important to let it go down the drain for something like that. I think they were very much at wrong here. And even though it did advance us more in psychology, it still should not have been done.
There
Even with the
definitely
Nazi,
could be other ways to do it, like
absolutely.
not.
They could have interviewed actual real prisoners, not college students.
I mean, there is something to say about interviews not giving enough information, but
Right. That's
I
true.
think this study, as much good as it gave us, could definitely have been done in far better ways to give us even more information, because I guess it depends on what they're trying to get, like prisoner of war, like how that would affect a prisoner of war, or how it would affect a normal like US prison, because there is a vastly different feel there. And the people going
Absolutely.
into United States prisons are already criminals. They likely have already been in and out of jail before, where
Absolutely.
prisoner of wars are obviously trained physically and mentally going into the military.
Right.
Very, very different from an average college student doing this for a test.
Right, because the average college student, they checked, they had no criminal record, no criminal experience, they were squeaky clean. They had no mental issues, nothing. And with the guards doing sadistic things, there was no indication in their personality test that they took that was very detailed that they would do something like that, but yet they did. They humiliated these prisoners, and it was absolutely, I'm not going to name everything, but you can look it up for yourself, but it was absolutely disgusting and unethical, and it wasn't. I know it's important to bring God into this when it comes to experiments, because you need to think of God first before you do something like this. Like, should I, psychologically torture my brothers and sisters? And I think God will be okay with that because it's for science. No, he would not be okay with that. He'd be very upset. Oh, did we lose connection?
No, no, it's okay. I was just
Oh,
thinking.
I was scared.
I was
Yeah,
just thinking about something because you brought up like talking about how God wouldn't want that. I agree. Obviously, he wouldn't want that,
right.
and I think that people kind of have a bias towards ungodly science because it'll bring us farther in
Right.
science when not you have to think about it because not everything is for us humans to understand. Not everything in the
Absolutely.
brain was created for us to poke and prod at. There are beautiful intricacies created into each and every one of us that understandably people want to look at it and understand the glory of what God has created, but then people want to go a step farther and
Yeah,
torture it almost in a sense out of us to
absolutely.
bring it into the
Absolutely.
light.
Like it's gone to the point where people differentiate try to defit I need help here with this word. I can differentiate. Oh my goodness. That basically they want to separate God from science when you can't. You can ask any person who believes in evolution in the world, the top scientist, like to really prove like if we came from apes, if we came from fish, like you you can't prove evolution. You can't. You can't. Cuz whatever a species can adapt, somebody got close. But what they said was, "Oh, this part of a species of fish like got dots on it or got spots and it became more like prone to this." But in the end, it's still a fish. It's still of the same species. It might look different, but it's still the same species. The DNA is still there. The species has not changed.
Right.
They're trying to take God out of science when God is most likely time the answer and the purpose of that. Now there are some things that we don't know and we are never going to know until we die, until we ask God ourselves, and then he'll give us an explanation. I mean, if you look at the Neanderthals, hopefully I pronounced that right. Some people think they're like the early Caucasians or whatever, and they're angels mixed with humans, and they're hybrids and awful things. But that's a pretty far stretch because what angel would go against God and have relations with a human? There have been documents of demons doing that, but nothing coming out of it, thank God. But angels, that's not possible. It's not.
Well, as a counter to that, you could say, obviously, Satan, the fallen angel, went against God. That's how he became Lord of the Underworld, whatever. But
Yeah. Yeah.
personally, I don't think that holds up for relations with angels and humans.
Right. I mean, we in power we are not above angels, but to God we are his special creation. Like I am grateful for my guardian angel. I'm not putting them down in any sort of way. It's just God did say, you guys got to look after the humans, they are my own little creation. They are molded after me. Angels don't have bodies. They don't have any physical bodies. It's not like supernatural and they possess somebody. It's not like that. It's a show. I don't know if you've seen it. It's a great show. It's a little blasphemous, but it's a great show when you can watch it in a not thinking it seriously context because in it they have God, but they named him Chuck. So it's a little blasphemous, but if you can watch it with a okay, this is just out of fun, there's no religious thing behind this, this is just in a separate universe. I'm not to think anything real of this. Then it's a fun watch and I highly recommend it.
It definitely sounds interesting, but
Yeah, it's very interesting.
so a lot of
For
people
sure.
will
What
say that, like you were talking about the fish growing spots, is proof of evolution, that it would just take millions and millions of years for them to grow into humans. But one of the most basic things in biology is that animals will grow to what is it, meet their habitat,
yes, they will adapt, adaptation.
and it's
They go
never been called
evolution.
evolution instead of adaptation. And then
Yeah.
people use that as proof that we evolved from human or from
Or
fish, whatever.
yeah. Or they'll use bacteria, but here's the thing, it's still bacteria. It is still of the same species.
Right. I was
It's still
watching I was
uh,
watching something about tests earlier. This guy's been doing a test since the last 67 or 30 something years for
yeah.
bacteria,
Mhm.
and he's found so many different mutations. But the
Yeah.
thing is, they all still look exactly the same. They can just do different things.
Yes. Yeah. Like us, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't doubt it if we were more ape-like, if we were more hairy, if we were shorter. We were shorter back then. I wouldn't doubt it if we were more hairier because we would get more damage from the sun. So we needed that extra hair to help protect us, and we needed extra hair for the blanket. So I wouldn't doubt if we looked more ape like. But because we did not need those things anymore, and because our genes are weakening, we are weakening as a species over time. We're not getting stronger. See, evolution says each species is supposed to get stronger and evolve. We are not. We as humans are de-evolving, and they don't like that because it doesn't prove what they want to prove. Like it doesn't. And science, they know. Science has proven. Any scientist can tell you that we came from one set of parents. We all came from Adam and Eve. We all did. They might not call it Adam and Eve, but it has been proven. And Charles Darwin, he revoked his evolutionary theory right
Right.
before he
A
passed
lot of
away.
people don't like to talk about that because it goes against everything they've done in their
No,
lifetime.
I mean, you also got to remember he's the guy who married his first cousin, then later on figured out that you shouldn't marry your first cousin because it causes genetic deficiencies and genetic this bad stuff, and why you shouldn't marry your cousin. Obviously,
He was
he
the
was the one
first
that
one
helped
to
figure it
disavow the
out.
Alabama relationship.
Yeah, even though he was married to his cousin, and he was like, even though they had 11 kids together, after I looked up his findings, he was like, huh, honey, guess what? Marrying your first cousin is pretty bad. I guess that's why all of our children have problems. And they did. All of his children had issues. And a lot of people bring up Darwin that he was a Catholic. He wasn't really a Catholic, he was a bad Catholic. And I can say that because I'm a Catholic and I know what Catholics are supposed to know, they're supposed to teach. Thing is, his dad was also a bad Catholic and he got into Masonism, which is something that Catholics are not supposed to go into because it's another cult. So he and his dad weren't really religious since his dad did renounce the faith. So Charles didn't have that solid Catholic education as he should. So really he wasn't a good Catholic because he didn't follow the teachings and he didn't trust in God.
Right.
Right? Because if he would have trusted in God, he would have known that evolution is stupid. It's just ridiculous. Like I'm not sorry, but it's just the thinking like how our DNA is close to apes. Okay, and we share like 95% of our DNA with a banana. What's your point? We're all from the ground. We are all from the ground of this earth. Of course, we are going to share some DNA if we all came from the ground.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've never actually heard anyone bring up that argument because I see all these things. We share X amount of DNA with this, that, and the other. But if you look in the Bible, the first mention of creation of a human, where does it come from? It comes from something on the ground. That's how God created man.
Yeah. He created Adam through the dirt, from the dirt you come and from the dirt you shall return. And it applies to women too because, God used some of Adam to create Eve,
Right, the rib.
joining them together. So, you know, he made that as, that was his companion, was Eve, and it came from her because God said, I know you're lonely. Here's a woman. She'll make you want to pull your hair out, but you'll love her at the same time. And she's going to be able to tell you why you shouldn't eat something. And it would be stupid for you to run 20 miles on like half a apple or something.
Oh yeah.
Like she'll keep you in check and you will protect and provide for her.
A lot of people like to say that men don't need women or women don't need
We need each other.
yeah, women don't need men or men don't need women as much as the other. But that's just not a good argument because if you look
No.
any
Yeah.
point in history, have you ever seen a thriving colony of just men or just women?
No. It's always had to be both. It's always gonna be a man and a woman. Like, look at us. We are like we have been like best friends for like what 4 years now.
Yeah,
You're a guy, I'm a girl. We complement each other well because even though we have a similar personality, because I'm a woman and you are a guy, our brains think differently on some amount of level. So we still, even though we think similar, we still have some sort of differences as well. When you might state something, I might be like, well, that might not be a good idea because A, B, and C. I state something and then you say, well, that might not be a good idea because X, Y, and Z, and we help each other out in that way because I'm able to give a female view on things and you're able to give a male view on things. So we have that going.
right. There's just some things that no matter how long I ponder or wonder about it, I'm never going to be able to see it in the same way as you.
No, absolutely not. It's just we're different but equal. We are equal. And women don't have to be entirely feminine and men don't have to be entirely masculine. From what I was taught and what, God wanted us to do is we are called to nurture and love, and men are called to just protect and provide. That doesn't mean that like girls have to wear dresses and lipstick all the time and all of this. No, they're supposed to nurture and to teach and to help raise, and they're supposed to help guide the male because sometimes the male, this is a big thing which a lot of guys do, is they don't tend to use the world view. Like woman, oh, can you hear me by the way? My screen just went down.
Yeah, I can hear
Oh no.
Can you hear me?
No! Okay, sorry. My screen just went out for a minute. I was like,
That's
what's
fine.
going on? So, anyways, like, woman, we see things in a worldview. God gave us intuition. There is a woman's intuition that is real. Just God is able to, give us hints. Like if we are worried about something, that there is a good reason with that worry. If we think that place doesn't look safe enough, I'm not gonna go there. There's a reason why we think that. And a lot of guys have a straightforward view. They see their goal and they're going to go to it, and it just blocks everything else out. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah. And so, I remember this old proverb, something. It said, the man is the head, but the woman is the neck. Because the neck really controls where the head goes.
Yeah.
It helps support it because without the neck, the head's not going to be able to look or move anywhere. It's just going to be looking straight forward. It's not going to be able to see the worldview around them.
I've heard some people take that and say, well, that means the guy does all the talking. Well, that means the guy is smarter. No, it
No,
doesn't mean physically that's what happens.
no, no. I mean, if we look scientifically, generally, women are usually smarter, but that still doesn't mean anything. I
I
mean,
think
it's
that just
mainly,
means women will live
yeah.
longer.
Yeah, because we're not like, I want to climb this 20-foot tree in the middle of a cement parking lot in a rainstorm because it would look cool.
I wonder what would happen if I start spinning a knife around my finger.
Yeah, that and then we see you guys doing that. That's why we're here to help you guys live longer because we know, oh God, he's really gonna go out with a metal tin can to cover him in a rainstorm. My God, like 'cause we know that, and we're here to help. So we're here for a reason. I love being a woman. I do. I love it. I've never felt um you know what is it? I've never felt oppressed. I've never felt like, someone's going to make more money than me. I've never felt that because I've always been treated as an equal, as I treat others as an equal. Men are, they're stronger, they're there to protect and provide for their families. That's the job, and it's a very stressful job as that because the head of the house, the man, he has to be like, okay, I have to feed my family. I have to feed my family. If I lose my job, I can't feed my family. Like, that's a constant thing on his mind. While the woman is like, okay, I have to make sure my husband is feeling well so that way he'll be less stressed about taking care of the family. I have to make sure he feels great. I have to make sure my children are doing well as well. I have to nurture my children to make them into good adults. Like the woman is like it's kind of like the glue of everything, she can keep the husband and the children, like she does that.
Right.
And it's wonderful. I can't wait for the day I become a mother because like I said, I just even though childbirth is going to be horrible, I love being a woman and I love the responsibility that comes with it. I embrace it. I'm not too feminine. You know me. I'm not feminine that much. You know me.
No,
I'm
no, I
not.
think you walk around with a little person lipstick in it all the time.
Yeah, right. I wear my bright red stilettos to co-op every Wednesday, and I chew pink bubble gum everywhere I go.
Yes.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I'm sitting here in jeans and a camo 21 Pilot shirt, as so
Hey man, it's just comfy.
yeah, it's very comfy. And like with guys, I think a lot of guys are going in a more feminine way because they are told you have to be manly. You have to be manly. You have to like hunting. You have to like fishing, sports. Yeah. You
And it's
can't
just
just like
human
feed her.
nature to go against it.
Yeah, it is. So
So
with
that's what we
I
see now.
yeah,
And
I
it's
feel
gonna start turning in the other way eventually because now everyone's like, no, you have to be feminine. You have to do this, that, and the other. The opposite of
yeah.
what
They're
history has told
they're
us the entire time.
yeah, they're telling men to be more feminine to go against the system and women to be more masculine. Like their feminism is like, yeah, woman, we can do anything a man can do, so do what a man can. When really we can't do everything that a man can, and that loses our femininity in the process. Because femininity isn't just lipstick and stuff. It's nurturing, it's teaching, it's
Right.
helping others. Like that's what we are called to do. We are called to help others. We are healers and we are people who are comforters. We are there for the emotional comfort and support. Why do you think we're so soft? It's because it's it's a way for people to be attracted to us as a way of comfort. Because if you feel like, I know that sounds weird, but that's why God made woman, nicer on the, like, we have like nice arms and good, because they want people to be attracted to us in a way of for people to feel comforted, you know?
Right, and that could be also softer voices.
Yes, softer, higher voices. We're not perceived as a threat as much. And why we can sing more. Most women can sing more than men can because it's a way of comforting. Like a mother singing her child a lullaby before she goes to sleep, it's a way of comfort. That's what we are designed to do. So if you tell a woman you need to be like a man and you need to not be compassionate, you need to like work and you need to like be able to lift like 100 pounds, and I don't, I think we're gonna really mess up our system that way. Cause I'm fine if a guy like doesn't want to act the manliness. Look, your job is to protect and provide. That is it. I feel like if a lot of men knew that, they wouldn't be, how do I say it? Being, and they should be, no, like you should be allowed to share your feelings. I feel like everybody overshares their feelings too much and doesn't decide when it's appropriate. Like if you go on social media, everybody's like, "Oh, I'm so sad right now. Oh, I'm this," and they share something really personal, and really that's not something you want to do. You don't want to share all your emotions with the world. Because if you do it in public, you'll be seen as an emotional person, and not a lot of people are going to be with you because nobody wants to be around an emotional person all the time. It's good to have a friend or two you can privately confront and be like, "Oh, I'm having the worst day. Like I lost my job. It was just too much." Or, you know, people need to be allowed to share their feelings, but to the right person at the right time. Like, you can't just go in the middle of the Walmart and just like cry.
Attention Walmart, I have an announcement. I'm
Yeah,
sad.
that's basically it.
Just bring
Yeah.
a microphone and everything.
Yeah. I am depressed and you all need to know about it, even though you have no relation to my life. Anyway, here's Wonderwall. you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like people should be allowed to share their feelings, and that it should be like certain things are like, hey, this is okay, but you need to realize that this is just responsibilities brought on. And by the way, people don't really need to be in relationships, especially so early on, because we see people getting in relationships when they shouldn't, and like less than 100 years ago, it was okay to never get married. If you didn't find somebody, then you didn't find somebody. It was extremely normal and perfectly fine.
It was a
Like,
weird time because both people could get married at the age of 15, and like
right,
you said, it was fine to just never get married.
right. You weren't seen as like LGBT or anything. It's just that you just felt like you just didn't find the right one. And it wasn't a big deal. Nowadays, it's like you have to find a partner. Like you have to,
It's a status
meet with
thing.
people. It's a status. Like you mean nothing unless you're with somebody, and that should never be the case. There are people who should be okay with being single. And there's a lot of young women that feel like, even my age, that they don't get anybody now, that they'll just never meet somebody in their entire life. I
Right,
mean,
it's like a ticking time bomb. If I don't get married before I'm 20, then I'm just not gonna be happy.
yeah, when really, even though I'm in a very happy relationship now, it's the healthiest I've ever been in. I love Anthony. He's amazing. He treats me very well. He's gonna be able to provide well in the future. So we're not really doing anything serious. It's just waiting and everything, and we're not trying to rush too much. And it's been going great. Who knew? But well, especially a lot of women are worried that they won't be able to have like kids or that they need too much time. But oh, here's a black screen. Go out again.
In the black screen of death.
Hold on. My screen is black. I can't hear you. Just give me a second.
I figured you couldn't hear me.
My computer does this a
Oh, I
lot.
can say
It'll go
whatever I
back
want now. Ooh.
for seconds, and I hope it does soon. Just give it a second.
I'm gonna spin a knife on my finger and nobody can stop me.
I think you can hear me, but I can't hear you.
While I'm at it, I should
Come on.
start throwing TNT.
Okay, here we go. It's back.
Oh, hi, welcome back. By the way, I can hear you the whole time, so you don't have to worry about that.
Hold on. One sec. Can you talk?
Hello? Oh, I just heard an error sound.
Oh my
Uh-oh.
goodness. This computer. Alright.
It's doomed.
Okay, there we go. There we go. Woo!
The
We fixed
computer's
it!
had enough.
Yay! Yay! Okay, sorry.
That's
But
fine.
anyways, I have my great uncle Lou and my great aunt May. They never got married. They were my grandmother's aunt and uncle, and they never got married. It wasn't because they were LGBT or anything. It was just because they just never found the right person. And they were okay with that. It should be okay to be single and it should be okay to wait. Like, woman, we have like until we're 40 until we go barren, okay? Like, we have plenty of time to find somebody, especially a lot of people now who only have one kid. And plus, if you have kids later in life, it's scientifically proven that they might turn out a bit better because not only will you have had more experience as an adult, your brain will be better developed to handle all that stress because children are stressful. Let me
Oh,
tell you,
yeah.
I yeah, I've worked with a lot of kids. I've done a lot of daycare jobs. My babysitting's been pretty good. I've babysitted for Hannah before. I never thought babysitting 5 kids would be like so immaculately awesome
It
because
really depends on the kids, yeah.
it depends on the kids and it depends on the parent. I
Oh,
have met
yeah, 100%.
because a lot of parents are just shoving an iPad in their kid's face and just thinking it's okay and that the iPad can parent. Absolutely not. And that's why we have kids with so many issues these days. I had an 8-year-old tell me like they didn't want to talk to anybody because they're like they have social anxiety. You were 8 years old. You do not have social anxiety. It was something you were taught while being on the computer. You talk to me just fine. You talk to everybody else just fine. And I was like, "Oh my goodness." I've had horror stories, Evan, like actual horror stories I have heard from the summer camps this year. Like, for example, at I work at a place, I'm not going to say cuz it's online, but a young boy shoved a pencil through a girl's hand while doing an art class.
Ah,
And you're
man,
telling
yeah.
me that's normal behavior? And I had a 6-year-old at my old job. I had to stop her from choking herself. She's 6 years old. She was choking herself with both of her hands, and I had to tell her mom. Imagine having to tell a mom that their 6-year-old just tried to choke themselves. And them saying, well, they don't do that at home. Well, they did that here. And we have the camera evidence and a lot of things that a lot of kids wouldn't do at home, they do here. And I told her exactly that. And it's horrible because these kids are learning how to manipulate situations young, and they're learning that they can get their way young, and it's not going to help them in the future because they're going to meet older bosses that are going to be like, okay, if you're going to act entitled and spoiled as that, I don't need you at my company.
Right.
But soon we are going to have a whole generation of entitled, spoiled children. We are, and it's mainly because of technology, because they're getting these outside sources. Like I had a kid sing, the song with like that involved a quote unquote dancing profession in it. And I said, we can't say that word. And I said, why not? And I almost wanted to say, well, sing that to your mother, and then and then you ask and then find out. But and then you know the song like WAP, right?
Yeah. Oh, boy.
Yeah, a 7-year-old was singing that, and I was like, "Oh my goodness." I was like, "You do not sing that here." And they're like, "Why?" I'm like, "That is overly inappropriate." These kids are hearing everything they shouldn't and seeing stuff they shouldn't this early. Like, I've heard of a 7-year-old watching, like, an R-rated comedy movie or a horror movie. Like, 8-year-olds watching Friday the 13th.
Oh my god.
It's horrible. It makes you sad on the inside because 'cause you're thinking you're desensitizing that child so early. Why do you think so many kids around our age and younger are okay with violence? They're okay with using violence as their answer instead of articulating words. They're being more anxious, they're being more depressed, and it's because they're being exposed to so much stuff early. And it's horrifying. It's horrible. We are gonna have a whole this whole generation. I'm just praying for them. I really am. My God, it's my God help them because it's gonna be a lot for them. It's gonna be hard for them, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna think that they won't need an education. They'll be able to rise up. They'll see a movie and they'll be like, "Well, I could just do what that character did, even though that character got lucky." I mean, personally, I think education is important. Like, I continue to go to college because, and, like, no offense to anybody who has never, not chosen college or anything, but if you can handle it, or even if you don't think you can, at least try it. Because in the future, we are having jobs that are being taken from people overseas because not only are they cheaper, but a lot of them are already in college because their parents already enforced them to go to college. Like in India, there are a lot of Indians, taking our jobs, which is sad, but it's true. I know I sound like a 40-year-old conspiracist, but it is true because what their parents do is they say no, you either go to college, get this degree, or you're out of our house and we're never helping you again, you will never see us again. That is the culture there. Why do you think a lot of them have like 2 degrees and they're
Exactly.
getting jobs over here? So a lot of people don't understand how much education is and how many employers are saying you don't have an education and you want to apply to this job, yeah, we'll call you back. So to get a job without a degree, high school or college is extremely hard, and it's at least good to at least get your AA or AS, which is just 2 years. It can be 2 years or as long as you want it to be. You just need to take 20 classes, and it's not that hard.
You
If you
need
do it,
any type of college degree for people. Even low-level jobs now are requiring a college degree. And all the
yes,
jobs are moving overseas because one, they're cheaper, and two, obviously the export everything until people start putting tariffs on it. I'm not going to
yeah,
go into the economics of everything, but
right,
when Trump put tariffs on stuff to make it more expensive for people to export, that also made it more expensive for us in the US to produce things because of all the laws and everything.
right,
So you
right,
try to
right.
fix that by changing production laws in the US, and then that just messes everything up with balance of tariffs, exportation tariffs, the US companies
Right,
getting everything they've worked on flopped. For a
right.
lot of companies that did
I'm
help and it was awesome and Trump really did a really great job with some things for that, but then other
right,
things it's just
right.
a lot.
It was just that one. It was like that one thing. Almost, yeah. Yeah. I mean, Trump as a person, I don't really like, but Trump as a president did very, very well. He did as a leader should.
Are you there?
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
But
don't want to go into the political because
no,
I'm
I don't either. I just said let's not talk about politics though.
yeah, I think I cut out for that.
Yeah.
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 I don't want to
But
go into it because I stopped paying attention to politics when I was
right,
like
I wish I did.
15, I think. I just had enough cuz I want to enjoy my childhood and not worry about the next president.
Right. Right, right.
And
No,
that's a
I
big
agree.
thing now. Like all the kids have to have a view.
Political knowledge. I know, when really they should have time. Personally, I think voting should be bumped as at 25 because not only do you have more life experience by then, you also your brain is fully developed. The frontal lobe is fully developed at 25. So why isn't everything at 25? Like, why is drinking at 21, you know?
I think for all of that, it was because of the time America was in with all the wars and everything
Right.
happening.
Well,
But
that's
it should
true.
be
That's
looked
true.
at now because it's different
Absolutely. And plus, we have a bigger life expectancy.
expectancy
We
now
like
than we used
80
to.
years old. Yeah, 80 years old. So what do you think waiting to 25 is going to make a big difference? There also should be a thing where you have to have at least pay taxes, own a house, and have like an asset like a car or just something that shows that you're paying off something, even if it's like an apartment, something that shows you are independent. Like you should be independent to be able to vote because
Right.
that shows that you're in the game. If you're just fresh out of high school or even in high school and you're voting on this stuff, you're not in the game. You don't know what it's like out there. I don't know what it's like out there.
Oh, dropped again. I'm not sure why my internet connection is dropping so much. Hello? Uh-oh.
Can you hear me?
Hello? I can hear you now.
Okay, cool. Good. Yeah, like neither of us have life experience. We don't know what it's like to live independently. Neither of us do. So why should we be able to vote for the president of our new nation if we're not even in the game?
Right. The
So
first
let
year
me
I voted, I was still in high school. And growing up, obviously, in a very one-way house, I'm not going to say which way, but growing
right.
up in a one-way house, you're pretty much expected to vote that way, I'd say.
Right.
If not by your parents, but by the people around you who know your family.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Um,
Like my
I'm
house is the same way, but I'm independent. I choose my own path.
I'm glad that my family uh told me that they don't care which way I vote and they want me
Good.
to look at it myself.
That's a good family. I love your family. I love your whole family. They are fantastic. I always have. They are great. I've always been jealous of your family dynamic.
Aha, yes, become jealous, you foolish mortal.
Yeah. Wait, you have parents that actually care? Whoa.
Whoa.
Whoa, who knew? I'm just kidding. I love my mom. My dad could work on a few things, but I love both of them. I love both of them overall.
I love
Yeah.
my mom. I might have to cast a new dad though.
Yeah. Sorry, this one's not working out.
Return him to the dad
I'll
store.
put it yeah, I'll put an ad out on, like, Craigslist or something. New dad.
Need
We'll
new
pay
dad. Current
$25
doesn't make enough dad jokes.
we'll pay $15 a day. That's a dark joke, but good.
I want to talk about the kid thing again because
Right.
maybe like 3, 4 years ago, I went to get my hair cut at this place, and
Mhm.
I remember this kid being there the whole time. Pretty young, like at the age where kids around that age are usually pretty loud. And
Yeah,
I remember hearing when they were checking out, the lady behind the desk was like, "Oh, your kid is so good, and he's so content." And the mom said, "Well, as long as he has his iPad." And I was
that's
thinking, "Oh my gosh,
horrible.
yeah,
You're saying, "Oh, as long as I don't pay attention to my child, they're just fine."
yeah,
Like, why do you think kids have such a short attention span now? Like, kids are being misdiagnosed with ADHD because they say they have a short attention span. It's not. It's because you're giving them so much stuff, like TikTok or something with a lot of kids on. It's one video after the next, after. It's constant switching of attention. Like, if you see this video about baking, look at this funny video. Oh, a cute dog. In just not even a second. It's just there. So it's hard for them to keep their mind focused, and it's why they're not interested in so many other things. It's because they can just grab everything with just a
it's a
click of a button.
dopamine overdose, not
Yeah,
not overdose,
exactly.
but overexertion of dopamine." And really,
Like
the
video.
only way to stop that is, just stopping watching the stuff. It's gonna be really hard for a while, but that's
Yeah.
the only way to do it.
Their brain is still developing. Why give them that overdose? Like, why not give them a book or a puzzle or draw? Like, we remember we used to draw as kids. We draw all the time. That kept us occupied, kept our creative juices flowing. We're like, oh, we'll draw a flower. Now we'll draw a house. Now I'll draw a dog. I mean, this all looks like scribble scrabble, and I know it looks like I'm drawing a star, but I'm drawing a
But it's
hippopotamus.
the masterpiece in the kid's mind. It
Yeah,
stimulates it.
yes. And nowadays, when kids they see all this perfect stuff on the internet, and when they don't see something perfect themselves, they lash out. They lash out in anger because they're like, "This isn't what it's supposed to be. This isn't what I was told. This is wasn't what I see. I see these people getting what they want all the time. Why don't I get what I want? This is the way it's supposed to be. This is the way I saw it." And it's horrible. I mean, Miss Hannah, she has it down to a T. You know, their kids. I've been babysitting them before, like they can't really be on electronics while I'm over there, and if they are, it's one. It's every kid has a day during the week. Like it might be like Malachi or another name. Maybe I shouldn't say his name. Steve. I'll say Steve. It could be Steve one
Steve,
day. It could be Stephanie
Minecraft
the
Steve,
other.
let's go.
It could be Stephanie the other. Stephen, but anyway, they each have a day, and then we have 30 minutes, and then they're done. Like a sibling can't even watch their sibling watch it, and they maybe can watch one show a day, and that's it. And I love that. And other than that, they're allowed to read as much as they want, though. As far as I know, they're allowed to read. They're
No
allowed to do.
rating in this household.
They know how to play Pokemon. Like one of the kids, I'll call her Stephanie. She's the oldest. She was so happy to see a Game Boy. Like she loves her Game Boy. And I'm like, "Oh my goodness, they have a Game Boy. That's so cool." And they were happy to play on it. And the way she was doing all these puzzles on it was so impressive. And it wasn't like a violent game or anything. You just got to like defeat these little ghosts by bumping into them. And I'm like, "That is amazing. Like this is what I want for my kids.
Alright,
I
I
don't
want to
want
talk
them."
about the term of violent video game really quick. Because,
Yes.
I know, you said bumping into ghosts. That's not violent by today's standards, but, like, when our parents were growing up,
Oh,
Super
right.
Mario was a violent video game that was supposed to be looked out for by parents.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to see it now. Like, to get a violent
Mm.
rating on a game, it has to be in excess of gore and blood, like shooting out in extreme, unrealistic ways.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, the amount of kids you'll hear in like Call of Duty or GTA. A lot of people think it's funny, but when I hear it, I'm like, oh my gosh, get off the computer. What is your parent letting you be on here? It drives me nuts. Because they're playing these games with these adults, and these parents, like, oh, I never let my kid do that. But they're not watching their kid, they're not being with their kid, so they never know. They think their kid is just gonna search something kid friendly. No,
They
kids
sit them in
are
front of the
pure.
computer and like, here's everything in the world you could ever want to know, but I'm just gonna believe that you'll be good.
Yeah, like we both, I'm pretty sure, have stumbled to horrible, horrible stuff accidentally. I'm a good Christian lass, so I always would click off, and there have been times where I've clicked on something, and then instead of the video, it's like pure adult content, and I click off immediately because it's disgusting. And if that happened to me at that young age, imagine that happening to anybody else, somebody younger, somebody who doesn't have that right Christian view. For example, there was a kindergartner 5-year-old. He was on the playground of a park and part of the summer camp, and they found him making certain noises imitating the adult
Oh
content
boy.
that was on his phone. Pure adult content. I'm not going to say the word, but it starts with a P, but it was purely that. And it's 5 years old. And they had to tell the parents because this kid knew how to access that. If that kid knows how to access that, even with blockers and stuff, think of any kid else. Think of anybody else. And think how much that parent has failed in a way for their 5-year-old to see that. It won't affect them. They think it won't affect them, but it absolutely will. Because you give a child, there's a saying, as somebody said, I forgot who, but he said, "You give me a child until they're 5 and they are mine for life." Because those first 5 years are so important. Because up until the age of 7, that is when they are figuring everything out. And by 7, they can make moral decisions. That is the age of starting of reason when they say, okay, stealing is wrong, hurting that person is wrong. But if you implant them in the first 5 years of their life that that stuff is not wrong and you're desensitizing them, you are ruining their entire life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons why kids act out because
Yes.
their parents are helicopter parents. Not to say that you shouldn't be like wary of what your kids are doing at all times, but if you're like overexerting, what's the word?
Yeah.
Like your authoritative power as a parent and just constantly watching over them, and then you
Yeah.
send them away like so you don't have to watch them over the summer or something. That's when they're gonna act out, and then people come
Yeah.
to the parents with these problems, and they're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
my kid would never do that. He's such an
Exactly.
angel at home." But that he can never act out or try and push boundaries because,
No.
like, the brain, psychologically, the kids will act out to push boundaries and see where they can stand.
Yeah, they're like, "You're not my mother. I wanna see how far I can go with you." That's what they're thinking. And it's just it's horrible because a lot of, these kids I was just thinking about something in my mind before, but oh yeah, me personally, my kids, I want to be involved in their life. Will I be a helicopter parent? Absolutely not. But there's a difference of being involved and there for them and being a complete dictatorship over them. Will I have like site blockers and stuff and certain things on my computers and only be allowed to watch certain things? Absolutely, because I know I've seen it. I know what children can and cannot watch at a certain age. I've taken the psychology classes. I know. Like there are some things I'm perfectly fine with them watching, but there are some things that I'm not going to watch until they get older. Star Wars. I love Star Wars, but I'm not going to let them watch it until they reach about 11 or 12 years old because there is some language in there and there's fighting in there. But something as simple as like Veggie Tales, oh, anytime. Anytime.
VeggieTales.
It's good to give boundaries and to say
Absolutely.
stuff like, "Hey, I'm gonna teach them young. Hey, let's watch something together. We're gonna watch something together. Let's have fun. Let's watch something together." And already have it put that like, okay, make a playlist. Okay, this is the playlist. These are the okay approved YouTube videos by me. We're watching it together. Like I want them to know early that what that like anything they're gonna watch, I'm always gonna want to be with them. And it's teaching them early like okay like I need to share it's a good sharing thing because it's teaching the child, hey, let's have fun, let's have this experience together, let's watch it. Like let's say I have a son, like, oh Henry, let's watch a video together, like, like let's watch Wildcats or something, it'll be fun.
Oh my god, the Wild Cry. I
Yeah,
forgot
I
that show
love
existed.
Wildcats. Yeah, Wildcats is so good though. I love the villain Zach, he's my favorite.
Same.
Yeah, he's
Zach
so
is so good.
like instead of making the obvious solutions, he's like, then I'll make these panda bears and I'll instead of making stuffed animals out of them, I'll put these mind controls on them and then I'll sell them. And it's just like, why would anybody think of that? I tried to do my best impression, but alas, I'm a female.
I still think Zabumafu is better.
Oh, I love Zubumafu. I love that show. That was so good.
Okay,
Like stuff like that.
I have one memory, and I don't know why I still have it, but I was eating an ice cream sandwich. If you know me, that's a lovely way to start a story.
Oh, no! Why were you eating an ice cream sandwich?
No, no. So my parents found this ice cream sandwich that I can actually eat, and they bought it
Oh,
for me because I like never get to have that stuff.
right.
So I'm sitting there eating my ice cream sandwich, and my whole family is watching Zabumafu.
Yeah.
And it's like this one night, and that like 2 minutes I remember, and we're just watching. I don't know what episode it was, but when it goes into that clay world,
Oh,
it was just one of those, and I was just sitting there
yeah.
eating my
Right.
ice cream sandwich, and I'm like, that's good.
It's a good sandwich.
That's a good sandwich. So you were talking about having a kid for 5 years thing.
Yeah.
That is absolutely true. And
Ab-
that I kind of remember some things, but obviously not everything. And I know it shaped the way I still live now
yes.
because when I was younger, I would visit my grandparents' house and they had like Game Boys and stuff from their age, from my parents' age.
From your grandparents' age, and it's a Game Boy.
No, I mean
Yeah.
stuff they bought for my parents.
Yeah.
And so they had Tetris, right?
Oh yeah.
And now I still love playing Tetris. Like I was just playing Tetris earlier today.
Right.
So stuff
It
like that,
sticks with you.
yeah, it sticks with you.
Yeah. Like my humor, I got from VeggieTales because I was watching VeggieTales the first, 5 years of my life, and I still love it today. Every once in a while, my head would just go like the bunny, the bunny. Oh, I love the. It would just be in my head randomly, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Or in that humor, that type of humor, like, yeah, what are you gonna do, Bob? Like that type of stuff. Like I say stuff like that to you all the time.
Yeah.
So that's where my humor comes from. Is because something like that. And VeggieTales also taught me good morals. Like, hey, like don't always be a snitch, and don't, trust God and he'll show you the way. Like that was Jonah. Jonah was like trust God, be kind to others, and forgive. Forgiveness was a big part of it, like, and repent, because the people of Nineveh, they repented, and Jonah was like, what? They didn't die, they're horrible people. But God was like, no, I've forgiven them. It's over. They are good people now. And that's what it taught you, that bad people can be good as long as you give them the word of God in that case, or just any like good word in general. Like it, and I want my kids to have those morals from those shows, which is why I'm not going to show them the new SpongeBob. Are you kidding me? Like the new SpongeBob is horrible. It's not good. The new shows of today are not. There is no moral message behind it. It's how many like fart jokes we can put in an episode. That's all it is.
Yeah, entertainment I feel has just I don't think many people think about this, but like Saturday morning cartoons have such an insane amount of power over how a kid would grow up. But parents
Absolutely.
are just like, "Oh, sit them down. They'll be just listening to mind-numbing shows, whatever. It doesn't matter. They don't have to like we don't have to
I
deal with them for an hour or two."
Right. I swear I watched like Henry Danger when I was doing working after school care. I could literally feel my mind just numbing. I'm like 16, 17. I was like 16 at the time. Because I was 16 then. But I'm like 16. Like, why is this show numbing my own brain? Why is it making me so almost hypnotized and exhausted? It's because it's not a good show. It's just because it was how it was written. It's terrible. But you have nothing else to do, so you just watch it anyways. And now that I'm older, it's still like, oh my goodness, like it's just TV can be very mind numbing. Although TV has helped me a lot, I at least try to choose pretty good shows. For example, I love mystery shows. Anthony knows. I love my mystery shows because I like being able to figure out everything. It works my brain while giving me the entertainment I need.
I guess it would come down to a difference in personality because you love like mystery shows, and I don't want to have to think that much when I'm watching TV
Right, I understand. But to
because
me, I have it
obviously all day I'm like thinking about different stuff, stressing me out, whatever,
right.
and then I sit down to relax, and then I'm like, oh well, I guess I have to solve a murder now.
Well, I know which one you would like because it's so obvious. It's like, oh, because you already know it's one of like two people that guest star in the episode that are not the main characters. It's called Psych, and you would love it
Oh,
because it
I
is such
watched Psych.
pretty humor. You watch
I
Psych?
loved it.
Yeah,
I
I
watched
love
that with my mom.
it.
My mom or dad, whichever was there at the time. I know
But
mostly I watched it with my mom, but
But yeah, I love that show. It is so my mom sees that show and she looks at Sean sometimes and she's like, "That's something Evan would say.
Oh my
Sarah, look, that's something Evan would say. Listen to it again."
god.
Oh, wait, hold on. My my audio. Wait, wait again.
No more
Okay,
audio.
it should be good now. But yeah, but that's something she would do. She's like every time. Sometimes I look at Sean, I see some things that he say. I see Evan in that moment, and
Oh
I'm
my.
like, what is? It's so funny, and
I
you are very witty. We both are witty.
I
So
should
I
go to
was
school dressed as Sean for Halloween.
you, you should. That'd be so. Do you remember the time where in Halloween you were spaghetti and I was a chef? That was so good.
I still have that spaghetti hat.
You just have the spaghetti
I'll wear it next week. I think that's when we go. Yeah,
Nice. She'll wear it next week.
I'll wear it next week. Yeah,
Okay, should I find my chef hat?
if you want to. Yeah. I
Cool.
was thinking. I told my sister like last week. I still have that colander full of yarn. I should
Use it.
probably take it out and because I eat a
You
lot of pasta. I could actually use it.
yeah. Oh wait, have you found a pasta that you can eat now?
I don't remember if there was ever a time a pasta I couldn't eat, or there was a pasta I couldn't eat. It
Okay.
just has to not be made with eggs.
Right, right. That's fully understandable. I feel like your allergies have gotten a lot better than what it used to be.
I
But
disagree, actually.
really?
Yeah,
Well, I'm not you.
I am you, so I know.
Yeah. Well, but I have noticed your skin getting a lot better, which has been good because now I look at you and you have eyebrows.
Okay. I feel like I've regained my identity as a Puerto Rican. I have eyebrows.
Yeah, you have eyebrows. Wow, and you're growing a mustache a little. It's like little by little, but it'll be there eventually.
Man, I really wanted to grow out a mustache and a beard,
Your
but
mom said no, didn't she?
how did you guess? No, it's not just that. It's the understanding the eczema. It just would not be good.
Right. I understand. Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
do. I don't want to talk too much about it because I could do like a 3-hour episode talking about just food allergies
Right.
and not even all the other stuff. So
Right. Just know this guy has a lot of problems,
just a
but
few.
he's got a he's got a few solutions. Just a few,
Yeah, but
I
for
guess.
the skin, when was
Yeah.
it? What? Jeez, that was a long time ago. It was like 2 years ago now. I
Yeah.
started taking Dupixent,
Right.
and that
That is
was a
miracles.
life changer for my eczema.
I am so happy for you because I remember when you would literally like scratch your eyebrows off. You would have no eyebrow hair, and I
That
would
sounds
always,
really bad.
yeah, yeah. I mean, seriously, I was like, oh my goodness, poor Evan. Like, you, like your like your appearance health, it's just gotten so much better. Like you even looked a bit thinner then than what you do now.
Oh, I've gotta find it. But there was my mom did this thing where she got a picture of before I was on it with my dog, and then me after I
Right.
was on it with my dog. And before I looked
Remember?
like a stick.
Yeah, you did. But now it's like you're actually maturing, you know? Like you don't look like you're 13 at, like 17 or whatever it was, you know?
Yeah.
It's helped you a lot. So I'm very thankful that you've gotten those because those are it's very important.
Yeah, getting the Dupixent wasn't easy, and I am very glad that I don't yet have to deal with insurance for that.
Right.
Because you saw how my eczema was,
It
and
was horrible. Oh, like,
The
it,
insurance was like, "No, you don't really need the shot."
and it, you should have been like, "Excuse me, I have this."
No, the doctors had to do that. They were
Wow.
like, "Here's all of the stuff, all of the reasons why he does need it," and they were like, "No," and then they sent it again. They're like, "Okay, fine, we'll do it."
Yeah, because like, obviously, that's who is the insurance company
Or I
to
sent you the
say
pictures.
because it's basically medical malpractice. I've seen this. It's like, there's such a difference. Like, I have Anthony in the bed next to me. I'm gonna have me.
Uh-oh. I think we dropped again. No, I don't get to hear the reaction.
About years ago.
Hello?
Okay, here he is. Yeah, here's that. This is Evan 2 years ago, right? So he is very skinned. That's his poodle. Like, that's Evan now. Like, you can just see the difference, especially in the arms and the expression. Just the whole difference it made. You know, just how much healthier he looks and how much happier he looks. Yeah, he said he agrees with me. Yeah.
Hi, Anthony. Oh, I think I left.
During this whole podcast. Yeah.
In-person audience. Let's go.
Woo!
I'm going up in the world.
You're going up. You got you got one.
I love you, Evan.
Thank you, adoring fan that I don't know.
Yeah, I love you too, random citizen. We were speaking about that. Oh my gosh, Evan, have you seen Will Ferrell in his
Uh-oh. Dropped again. Hello?
have you seen Will Ferrell in his Megamind costume?
No.
Okay, here, I gotta send you a photo. It is so funny. I'm gonna send you a few photos. He has blue skin and everything.
Oh my g-
He literally went us at Comic Con one year,
Nice. That
and
is
I think
awesome.
they should do a live action
No,
version with
oh
this,
no.
but like with Will Ferrell, like he looks like that.
Yes.
That would be amazing, and I encourage the audience, whoever is listening to this at home, to look up Will Ferrell Comic Con
I'll
Megamind
put up
costume.
the
It
images
will,
in the
yeah,
episode.
put up the images. It is so funny. It is amazing. So if you ever meet a Make a Wish kid who loves Will Ferrell, tell him that Will Ferrell needs to come up in that costume because I think it would just make everybody's day a little brighter.
Manipulate the system to make Will Ferrell come back in the costume.
Yeah, everywhere he goes, he has to wear his Mega Man costume and makeup. Oh my goodness,
For the
that would
entire week.
yeah, for the entire week. You know? Can you imagine him like filming for a movie and he's like in that scene with that makeup on and it's just like
It's
he's
like a
making
really
like
serious movie. No, I don't want
exactly.
to lose you again. He's just wearing that.
And then that's the only scene he wears it for. And the other scenes
Act
he
that.
does.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Oh, I dropped again. What is going on today with this connection?
I have no. Well, there's been a storm.
Oh, that's true. It has been raining pretty bad for the last 2 days.
Living in the lightning capital of the world kind of has its disadvantages. You know.
Nah, I don't know what you're talking about. It's great here.
Oh my gosh.
I can go walk outside right now with a metal pole and not get struck by lightning.
Oh yeah, cuz we're that safe over here. I mean, you live in a town that's not known for being safe, so I'm pretty sure someone would just take the metal pole and hit you and run away with it.
Oh no, my metal pole. Whatever will I do without it?
Yeah,
Just
whatever
wait for
will I
him to get
do?
struck by lightning and take it back.
Yeah, and then get shot by the pole. Yeah. Oh my goodness. We have talked about so much stuff for like over an hour now. This has been great and a lot of fun.
That's why I like doing it without like a topic every week. You just sit and talk. It's nice.
It's very nice because you can talk about new stuff. For example, like in 2022 and 2025, we're gonna have eclipses. 2045, sorry, is gonna be a solar eclipse over our area where we live. In 2022, there will be a lunar eclipse,
Oh,
and it's
that's like
gonna be very
100 years
beautiful.
away. I'll be dead by then.
Oh no. Sorry about that, buddy.
It's unfortunate.
Yes.
I can't wait
But
for Elon Musk's nerve gear. I can't wait to
yeah.
get animated into a death game.
Yeah. SAO, let's go.
Let's go, woo!
We'll have just as much terrible writing, too. I'm sorry. That's Anthony's favorite anime, so I can't really say too much on it.
I'm not sorry, Anthony.
Yeah.
I've
But
watched the entirety of SAO, like
I
all
could
of the seasons. So I don't know how to feel about it.
right. Felt comfortable with how sometimes Asuna would have her scenes where I'm like, that's SA and I don't like it. I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Yeah. But I mean, anime's pretty good. Overall, it's not bad.
it depends on what fandom you're in, I guess, or who you're talking
Right.
to.
I don't talk to fandoms. I'm not in any fandom for any anime
I'm
whatsoever
the same
because
way. I think I started talking to some once, and then I'm like, nope, never again. I'm just gonna watch
no.
anime by myself, and I'm not ever gonna
Oh, by
go
the
into a
way,
fandom.
everybody, happy 9/10/21. Woo! You got to enter the vine here in your editing. You got to Today's that holiday.
You couldn't hear because of the noise suppression, but I just let out a nice big sigh.
That's great. But on a serious note, though, it is the 20th anniversary of 9/11 on Sunday. So hopefully everybody's going to have a good memorial on that day. So I know I'm going to be praying my rosary, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's crazy. Something like that could happen on American soil. Like, it's horrifying, but I probably shouldn't really get into it. We should maybe go on more happier. Because we just went from Will Ferrell to 9/11, and I don't know how comfortable I feel about
That was like a pretty quick 180.
that. That was, yeah. I don't know if we should talk
Pretty
about
quick.
Will Ferrell, Megamind, and then like 9/11 right after. That's not
Surprise
that.
sadness.
Yeah, surprise. You
Yeah.
thought this was going to be a happy podcast? What do you think we are?
Joke's on you. If you listen for an hour and a half, you'll be sad.
Yeah. This has made my like Friday night, really. This has been amazing.
Do you mean Friday Night Funkin', the popular
Oh,
video game FNF?
woo!
I don't want to talk about it again.
I've never played it.
I know.
Cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
ASMR podcast.
No, please.
Oh, by the way, you should wear the spaghetti hat to like economics, but don't bring it out until like the first 10 minutes of the class.
I
And
thought
once
you
10
were
minutes
gonna say take it to the college campus. I'm not gonna do that.
Professor, it's my lucky hat.
Professor, I need it to calm down.
Yeah, This is my anxiety hat.
It's my comfort hat.
It's my comfort hat. Yeah. But you should bring it. Let's like 10 minutes in, just take it out of your backpack and just wear it when he's not
Okay,
looking.
I I did something like that once. I brought an extra shirt in my backpack, and
Yeah.
literally every time my sister was somewhere else, I switched shirts, and she's like, "Did you change shirt?" And I'm like, "No, I wore this." Then I would change it back.
That's so good. Poor Allison.
She was so confused.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah.
Literally only heard.
Oh my goodness. I can imagine. I've I I played Pokemon Go with Allison the other day. That was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I saw.
Yeah. I'm sorry I didn't play kickball with you.
That's okay.
I
Honestly,
was
it wasn't that much fun.
oh. I figure with the little kids it's gonna be a lot of screaming and I'm like, I don't really feel like being
I
next to a
I
bunch of
don't blame
screaming
you.
kids. Yeah, cause I had already quit my job for after school because I was done with like yelling kids. So I was
Yeah,
like, I don't wanna immediately go into another one.
I wish I wish there were a lot more older kids like our age.
I know. Oh, by the way, are you in high school at all? Are you already graduated?
Um, I guess I'm graduated, but I'm just still going to co-op for some classes that I never got to take.
Okay. Okay. Um, so it's just like for fun you're doing co-op.
Yeah.
Right, because I know you're a year older than me and I'm a senior. But I
Oh,
also yeah, but I also know that your mom would say, "Oh, like Evan was sick some days where he couldn't do school." So I didn't know if that put you behind in any way. I never assumed so. I just never knew.
oh man, there was one year that I was like so sick for the entire year. It took
Oh,
a little bit to catch up, but yeah, I managed to do it on time.
that's good. I'm proud of you on that. Cause like you have a very very difficult battle. Like you have a huge cross to bear. You really do,
Nah,
and you carry it so gracefully.
running
Yeah.
over the bridge until I fall into the water.
No. Yeah, but you've done really really well.
I want to do an episode of the podcast where I just like talk about my stuff, and I'll probably do that with my mom. So if there's anyone listening that is just confused about this, then it'll be
Right,
talked about eventually.
right. Because if anybody understands like physical suffering, it's Evan. Like it's you, man. Like you understand what it's like to just hurt and be in actual pain all the time. Like you understand that.
It's really weird because I know I have a pretty high pain tolerance,
Right.
and then I see other people like talking about how something hurt, and I'm like, really, that hurts? Then I have to just think about, yeah, that probably does hurt.
Right, because it's like I've experienced that, but that person has never really experienced it or never experienced it as much as I have. Like I'm sure for you, like needles don't hurt at all at this point. Like, you know? But for somebody like me who rarely ever gets a needle ever, I'm not afraid of them or anything. I just don't ever get them. It would probably hurt for me because my body isn't used to it, you know? So yeah, definitely props to you. Like all the allergen free brownies in the world
They
are
call
for
me
you,
Holmes, man.
man.
I look like
Yeah,
Swiss cheese.
there you go. You know you could probably give your plasma for money.
I don't think they want my plasma.
Yeah, that's true. They're probably like, sir,
Sir, we're gonna have to charge you to give this to us.
yeah, we're gonna
Too many disease.
yeah, too many diseases. And Evan's diseases aren't like contagious or anything, by
Oh
the
no,
way.
I've
They're
slowly been
all
spreading.
internal. Yeah, you've just been infecting all of us. Like, thanks,
Everybody will
Evan.
soon
Now
die.
I can't. Yeah, thanks, Evan. Now I can't eat eggs or go outside in the grass ever again. Wow, thank you
You
so
fool, you
much.
are now allergic to the sun.
Yeah, no, I can't do exercise anymore. No more gym.
No more gym.
Speaking of that, maybe in the future you should on Wednesdays the gym is like empty. They have days and times posted that like how many people are in the gym, what's this? They have people sanitizing everything.
Right.
So to the point where you feel safe enough to go in, you should ask your parents for like a membership or something there.
Oh man, I want to go back to this one gym that I went to before COVID, because
Right.
I know the owner there, and he's an awesome guy, and I love it there. And he's
Right.
been like, what's the word? For lack of a better word, he's been like there with for me for a lot of stuff ever
Absolutely.
since I started going to that gym, and he's just an awesome guy to talk to.
Absolutely. Yeah. I remember you saying some stuff. Yeah. I mean, hey, if he really, really like wants to be there for you, that's you should definitely try to stick with him. I say give him a call. Say, hey, what's your COVID procedures? Are you wiping stuff down? Would you make an exception for me?
Oh,
You know,
here
just
I
whatever you need.
remember a while after COVID started, he actually contacted me about that because he knows like all my stuff, and he let me know
Right?
about how he's doing everything. If I would feel comfortable, then he would like make some stuff for me to go there.
Yeah. I um. It's definitely great when somebody's willing to do like accommodations for somebody else. That shows that they really care and they want the best for that person. Because I mean, like, you could have a kid with like a peanut allergy, but maybe you won't force everybody there to like not have peanut butter jelly sandwiches. Like some people will put the person with a peanut allergy next to somebody who has a sandwich because they're like, oh, it'll be fine. So, you kind of get what I mean?
I like that you used the peanut allergy for that because the peanut
It's,
allergy is so different to others.
yeah.
It's I don't know how to explain it. It's like such a
Right.
heightened allergy, even at a low level. Like,
Because for my Aunt Pam, she can just smell it and she'll go into
oh
anaphylactic
yeah,
reaction.
yeah. Like I'm
However, like, I have met some people who they just can't eat it and they'll be fine.
yeah.
But
Uh
you were saying,
I'm
right?
not at the level where if I smell it, I'll go into that, but it will definitely affect my breathing if I smell it.
Right. I'm that way with cats. Like, if I just like smell or I'm around a cat, then I'm just like my body's like it's time to die.
Oh,
But
I love that because when you came over, our cat just wanted to sit next to you.
yeah, cats love me and I love cats, but I'm like, you're gonna kill me, please. But there have been some cats where I haven't been allergic to, and that's like two cats. I think Penny I was kind of okay with.
You know what's weird
A lot.
about cat and dog allergies?
Yeah.
You're not
Her
actually
texture.
allergic to the animal, it's the dander they let out. So if they're groomed really well, or if it's, I guess, hypoallergenic per se, that they
Yeah.
don't release as much dander, then you're gonna be fine.
Well, my uncle, it's different. He can't even be next to like my uncle can't even be next to a poodle like yours without almost dying because it's just that bad.
Oh wow.
And it's the same way with any animal. Like he could be like 5 miles away from a horse, and he would be sneezing and coughing from
That's
just
like a
being 5 miles
shark level of
away.
smell.
Yeah, by hey, I'm just saying that side of the family has big noses. I'm just saying it now. but yeah, he'll bring hypoallergenic dogs. He'll be near them, and he still has a really bad reaction to it. So I guess it's because he never had a dog really that and he only had outdoor cats, but now he doesn't have any animals. So I think that lack of tolerance over the years
Oh
really
yeah.
affected badly.
Yeah, it
Because back
definitely does.
then, doctors were like, "No, no, no! Don't build up a tolerance. Just get rid of the problem. Don't try to find a
Really? Oh,
solution."
oh yeah, that's right. That would make sense.
Right, like, cause that's what back then, like, he had to get rid of his cats as a kid because they're giving him such bad allergies. But really, what doctors would say now is, "No, no, no, keep them. Have him get used to them because he'll build a tolerance up over the years."
Right.
You
That's what
know,
the
that's what.
doctor said for me too.
Yeah, like I had a cat growing up, and once they died, after that, I became very allergic to cats. You know, so I can't have a cat anymore. But I absolutely love to get a cat. I want to, even if I have to get a naked cat, I will put a sweater on it and call it my child. So because I love cats and I want a cat.
That's an interesting way to say a hairless cat.
Yeah, I just put a sweater on it. I think it's cute with a sweater. They're known to be very affectionate, and they're known to be good cuddle buddies because they need the warmth anyway, so they're very loving cats. And they don't give off like any really like a lot of dander or a lot of hair, or they don't collect a lot of dust obviously because there's like no hair on them.
Yeah.
I think they're called Sphinx cats, I think.
Yeah, Sphinx cats.
Sphinx. So, and plus in Florida, a hairless cat is a decent idea because it's so hot here.
It doesn't get cold.
Yeah. It doesn't get cold, so the
Oh
cats
no,
are gonna.
winter. Anyways, it's 80 degrees.
Yeah, it's like winter. The coldest you're gonna get is 50. Have fun. But in Jacksonville, it might snow. So
Jacksonville is nice.
Jacksonville's not bad. The city is bad, but outside the city, well, not
Yeah.
really outside the city. Just you gotta go in the right place
You don't
because
want to go to the city.
no, like sometimes out of the city isn't good. Cities are scary. I don't like the city.
Just cities in general.
Yeah, just cities are bad because there's a lot of bad people that hang around cities. It's scary. It's noisy. I don't like it. I'd rather be, believe it or not, I would rather feel safe in the middle of nowhere than in a city. If that makes sense.
So if no one else is there to hurt you, then you're fine.
Right? Yeah. Like personally, when I grow up and want to get a house, I would like to get a house with at least my dream house is to have like woods surrounding me, just a little, even if it's as a barrier.
Absolutely. I would
Yeah.
love to get a property with woods.
Yes. And I just want a little bit just to space myself between me and my neighbors to show like, okay, this is my private property, like this is my property, this is my sanctuary, because that's what a house is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a sanctuary. It's supposed to make you feel safe because it is a house. It is your home. That is where you will sleep. That is where you mostly eat. Like that's a place where you need to feel safe. So I wouldn't want to choose somewhere where I don't feel safe. Anthony's more or less like, I don't want to have to drive 10 minutes to Walmart. There are places where you don't have to drive 10 minutes to Walmart to be out in the middle of almost where it looks like it's nowhere, but it's not. Like there are some houses in that I'm sure that have like a barrier of woods, and I don't want to live on a main road because I know my kids will be stupid and chase a ball into the middle of the street because they're kids.
Yeah.
So I'd rather have a little bit of property because that's just me. And if I have to pay a little extra for that, then that's fine because I'd rather have that security. Because I feel more safe with a property than I'd feel safe in a city, in a populated area. I don't like or trust a lot of people. It's very hard for me to trust people.
Oh, same here.
So, yeah. So I couldn't live in the city. I just couldn't. That's too much. I can kind of visit one because Anthony's family is from New York one day and they're near the city, so I'd have to visit it one day. But I think that's really as far as I can go for just a little bit, and then no more. I can't be there for over like 3 weeks, you know.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to fall asleep in a city.
No, it's just there's more crime that happens in cities and out the middle of the nowhere, and it's obvious because of people. Like I'm more scared of people than I am of like nature.
Have you seen My Cousin Vinny?
I think I've seen a little bit of it. Yeah.
You know the scene where he's in prison and he gets better sleep than the
Right.
house out in the woods?
Yeah.
It would
That's
be it would be the opposite for me. I could not sleep in a city with all the noise.
no. Me neither. I just I'd be so worried. Granted, like, I mean, I'm the type of person who I believe that Wendigos exist or what and whatnot. So of course, I'm not gonna be too far out from humanity, but just enough so that way I just feel like more safer and it's more private. Like it would be just a tad bit harder for people to find me. Like, you kind of get what I mean?
Yeah.
But the Wendigo things, I don't think they're monsters. I just think they're demons designed as monsters because if they reveal themselves as demons, that wouldn't be good because demons are supposed worse because they are supposed to make us think they don't exist because if we realize demons exist, then God must exist, and they don't want that.
You know what's weird though, that people will believe in demons but not God.
That's I think that's ridiculous because how are you supposed to have one without the other?
I don't know. I don't know their thought process.
I don't know either. Like I've seen like Christians just say these like things that are just so obviously like it's ridiculous and it's stupid. Like one of them is, I'm Catholic. We're taught, even Christians are taught that Mary is the mother of God. It is in the Bible. It's in the Bible. Saint Anne, she said, now who is but the mother of my Lord, come to my house.
Right.
And Jesus called Mary mother, so why would this person think that Mary isn't the mother of God? He never said Joseph was the father, though. He probably said like sir, like yes sir, yes sir, but Joseph knew he was his foster father. Jesus knew he was his foster father. They both knew God was Jesus' real father, but Mary was absolutely his mother. Like he adored Mary, he adored his mother.
Right.
And speaking of that, I think parent-child relationships nowadays just everybody's like, "Oh, the relationship between my mom and me is awful, or dad or me off. Both my parents is awful." I think it's because people aren't used to talking out their issues. Like they don't want to talk out their issues or anything.
Right.
I know, like
They're
my
more
dad is
expecting a friendship than a parent.
right because
So it's like
parents
when they lay down the law, they're like, "Oh, how horrible of you! How could you do that to me?"
right when they just want the best for you. Like there have been times where I'm like, why do my parents do this? This is bad. And then when I get older, I'm like, that's why they did it. And they could have done more, but they chose not to.
Exactly.
As you get older, you realize, oh my gosh, they were right.
We always used to have this thing where my parents would be like, when you get older, you're gonna call me and say, "Oh, I'm sorry about this." And
Yeah. In a
it's
way,
true.
they're
It's
right.
funny, but it's absolutely true.
Yeah. I mean, not as dramatic as that, but yeah, you just think to yourself, like, oh my gosh, they were just looking out for me. They were looking out for my safety, and I didn't realize it.
Mom,
Like,
you mean to tell me that I can't spin a knife around my finger?
yeah, I know. Or like I can't spend a night over at this person's house that I just met a few weeks ago. You know?
You mean to say I can't live with a stranger I met on the internet?
Exactly. It's just even though I never thought of that, I'm just like saying that's a good example.
I There's a reason I say that because you see all these, content houses or what they're called, and then people are
Right.
like, "Oh, we're gonna," people who met online are like, "Oh, we're gonna make a video and then live together or whatever."
And it's stupid because all of those fail. Like, do you remember like Team Crafted back in like 2013 or whatever? They lived together for like 7 months or something, and
Yeah.
then they all just fell apart.
There's definitely some that work though, but you have to be really close.
Really close. Like
It
I
would be so much harder than just like having normal friends that you live with,
right,
because then it
right,
brings
like
business into things and it's never do
yes.
business with friends.
No. The worst way to destroy a friendship is to start living together.
On that note, I'm
That
moving in with someone I met on the internet.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, college dorms, like, they just pair you up with somebody random, and they're like, "Good luck sleeping tonight. You don't know this person, but you're sharing a room." Like, that's what college dorms do.
Yeah.
We're like, this person may or may not murder you. We don't know. We haven't done a background check.
It's
Have
okay,
fun.
they're an A+ student.
Yeah, they're an A+ student. They might have taken like Taekwondo and anger management issues before this, but it's fine. You know?
First day meeting your dorm roommate, you should just
Yeah.
walk in there and say, "Hey, have you seen the 18th floor of this building? Man, it is wild."
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna go to my Taekwondo class.
Yeah. Hey, have you seen the roof? Man, that's a steep fall. Anyways, time for anger management class. Or like, time to see my I got a therapy appointment. I'll see you later. Just stuff like that. That's ridiculous, but
Yeah.
I think sometimes some dark humor is important. I think comedy is subjective. I mean, granted, I don't like a lot of comedy that's done on the internet. A lot of
Same.
comedy that's at the expense of others. I don't like making fun of someone for their disability or like being taking advantage of women, like that type of humor. I don't like. I don't like that type of humor because that's just how I am, you know. Or like certain religious humor, I don't like. But do I think people have the freedom to have that humor? Absolutely. You have the freedom of the way you speak and the way you think. That's free will. God has given us free will. We can choose with it what we like. Although we are supposed to, He gave us a free will to see as a test. Like, are we gonna follow His word with our free will, or are we gonna stray away? Because we have a choice. He wants us to have a choice.
A lot of people don't understand that. They think, "Oh, we have a choice, so I'm just gonna pick whatever I want," and then, you know, in my deathbed, I'll accept him.
That's not
But
how God works.
it's first of all, if that's your thought process, you don't know when you're gonna die. You don't know
No,
if it's gonna be in an instant or you'll be on your deathbed and have time to do that.
no. And
And
if you have the attitude of like, oh, I'm just gonna do it on my deathbed, God's gonna say, hey, look, you had all this time to know me and you just want to know me now. If that was never your plan in the first place and you were close to death and you say, Lord, please forgive me, I want to do better, that's differently. But because that is premeditated in thought, He is not going to accept that. He's going to say, no, you had this time, you knew about me, and you did not love me.
he
Because He is our.
longs for you to choose and accept
Yeah,
him into your heart and bring him into your home.
absolutely. Yes.
And if you just keep him waiting on the doorstep, acknowledging that he's knocking, and then when you're about to slip away, say, "Okay, come in." What's gonna happen?
Yeah. Yeah. He's gonna be like, you know what, I'm out of here. So, I mean, a relationship with God is very important. It really is. And everybody messes up. I mess up, you mess up, everybody messes up. But, it's us to just pray to God every day. Help me to not mess up. I don't want to mess up.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not just, okay, I'm gonna sit down and pray before I sleep. I have the same like
Right.
4 words, please, just whatever, just please forgive me.
Right.
It's not like repetition is gonna bring you closer to God. It's actively yearning for more information. Like
Absolutely.
have a conversation with him. People are like,
Yeah.
"Oh, if I go into prayer, I have to have like some divine intervention at that moment and I have to speak the perfect words."
No.
You could
God just
just
wants to hear, like, how was your day? Oh, God, I got into traffic. Shit, somebody got into an accident. It was horrible. And in his head, and he's wanting to hear about it. He's like, tell me about that experience. Vent out to me.
he
He wants
already
to hear
knows
how bad that
everything.
traffic
So
was. Yeah, he already
what's
knows. What's the
what's the
difference?
point in planning like this big theatrics? Oh God, today I was suffering. Please help me.
Yeah. He knows what he wants to hear you in the moment. Like in the moment of suffering. Like when I'm angry or when I'm sad, I'm like, Lord, help me, give me strength. If I know, like before I quit my job, that whole day before I was saying, Lord, give me strength, give me courage, give me strength, give me courage. Have me not back down from this because I know I need to do this. And that's what happened. You know, through the Holy Spirit, I was given grace. And even though I was being yelled at by my boss for quitting, shout out to my old gymnastics job for being horrible at me quitting because, apparently me working there a year and a half and giving a 2 weeks notice is unprofessional for me to do. Okay.
I'm
But
sorry, I should have given you a 3-month notice.
yeah, like, oh, I'm sorry I worked with you a year and a half, was friends with your daughter, referenced many places to you, and because of school, I quit and I give a 2 weeks notice. I could have left that day and just never I could have just not even showed up. But I was yelled at, I wasn't allowed to speak. She just kept berating me. She was calling me unprofessional, which you know me. I'm a professional person. I take things seriously when it comes to my job. I always have been. You can ask anybody else I've been employed under. I have always been professional. So, hey, do you think I could be sued for defamation? I say their name and not reference people there.
I just wouldn't say their name either way because
Right.
it's
I mean, it's not
still
like
a
they're.
level of respect that should be given.
I agree. I agree. But if anybody wants to ask me privately for their name, I'll reference you. Like why you shouldn't go there and how actually horrible it is behind the scenes and how unprofessional it is behind the scenes
Yeah, I've heard you talk
and how
about it
much they
before. It
don't
doesn't sound
care.
like a good place.
No, no, they actively let a person with COVID work. They let that person work. And they worked my mom like a slave. Like, and they didn't pay her overtime. Like her shift would be like 3 hours or something, and she'd start at about 3. She's supposed to end by 7, but instead she would sometimes be there from 10 to 11 o'clock, and she wasn't allowed to be paid overtime. So, and that place isn't good. They've been known to yell at the kids there. They don't really care about the kids, and or they don't really care about their employees. They care about money. That's all
Mr.
they care about.
Krebs.
Yeah, they just care about money over there, and nobody. Granted, it's they don't let their employees know anything. There have been many times they're like, "Oh, by the way, this is how we're changing things." Then a week later, it's like, "Why did you do the thing that we told you to do? We said it's going to be this way from now on." It's like, "Okay, next week, why did you do the thing we told you to do? We can't do that because of this and this." It was never. I've never gotten a courtesy text. It was just like, you know, it was horrible. Like I remember I was told, "Hey, make sure to have the snacks out for the children by the wife." Because it's a husband and wife duo, which, then they have issues themselves, but I'm not going to go into it. But I was told, hey, just bring the snacks out for the kids to choose. And then after I did that, Soren was like, hey, so I've been told that you're bringing out the snacks for the kids to choose. And that's my boss, by the way. I can say his name because there's like a million in the US, so it's fine. I won't say his last name because I don't even know his last name. But my boss, he was like, the husband was like, yeah, you can't do that because we can't keep track and all this. And I said, but your wife told me to do this. And she was like, no, she told me that you were just doing it. So obviously she cared about her reputation with her husband more than me, the employee, who was a young teenager, by the way. I started there when I just turned 16. That's pretty young overall, and it's a college job. All I had to do was watch the kids for a few hours, make sure they were fine. In the pandemic, I had about 6 kids, and we're still in a pandemic, right? The next school year they give me 15, and in a room that's a closet. Do you know how horrible that is for a pandemic?
Oh my. How are they able to get away with that with the pandemic laws?
I know. It's because they do not care about the safety of the students or the employees. They do not care. They only care for money. That's it. They only care about money. That's all. And the background was horrible. Like the employees, we couldn't talk to help each other. They'd see us talking to each other. They'd be like, "You're on the clock. You're on the clock." Even though it's like, "Hey, I don't know what I'm do this. I wasn't given instructions. I need help." There have been times where I would need help for something, and I would go out to my boss, and they're like, "I'm busy right now. Don't talk to me. Can't you see I'm busy?" And then they would get upset at me later on. for, not doing something, even though I had to ask them something. And they were like, well, it was obvious that you had to do this. And then I was like, well, you never told me how to do anything here. Like, I'm not a gymnastics coach, but yet I was told I had to teach gymnastics classes. I have never taught gymnastics in my life. I was hired on for after school care, and they would make me teach the gym classes there, and I didn't know what I was doing. And I'd be like, well, you're not doing this. You need to do this. How would I know? I'm not a gymnast. And because I'm a dancer, they thought I had the experience to teach gymnastics. No, I do not. Dancing and gymnastics are two different things. They're like, oh, teach him dance moves. Okay, then where's my music? Where's my space? I need a mirror. They're two totally different things. Like, I can't teach dance moves or choreography without music. And not only that, they would bring their daughter there, their young daughter. Their daughter is less than 2 years old. And yet they're bringing her in this place where people are flipping, they're doing cartwheels, they're messing around. There's children running around everywhere. And yet they think that is safe for their toddler. I have seen one of the kids in after school almost flip into that little girl's face when she was less than a year old while she was walking. And to me, that shows that they don't care, because if they really cared about their child, they would hire a nanny. And they wouldn't bring her in there at all. They would get a babysitter or something. She has an older daughter who's 18 or 19 now. Why can't she watch her daughter? Because what happened is she has a daughter from a past marriage, and now has a daughter from this marriage, her new marriage. And there's a 18-year difference between the two daughters. Why can't the older one watch the younger one? Because she obviously lives at home. Or just hire a nanny, because it is dangerous. It has always worried me when their youngest daughter would come to the place. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's gonna get hurt one day. They don't know where she is. There have been times where they have lost their daughter and they don't know where she is in the gym. They'll look around for her, and I'm like, oh, she's over there because you weren't paying attention.
Nice. That is absolutely crazy.
It is crazy. So I don't recommend that place to anybody. They are very unprofessional. They're not going to help your child go far, and they won't care about their child unless they're good enough and on team. They will tell the child you are not good enough. They will. I've seen it. They will tell the child you are not good enough to be in you will never be in the Olympics. You can't do competitions.
Well, sorry that I wasn't naturally gifted. That's why I'm here. Now do your job.
Exactly. This one girl, bless her soul, she's been trying to quit there for years, but they've emotionally trapped her because they're like, well, think of all the times we let you practice here for free on the weekends or in the mornings. And it's like they were close with family. That's what you do when you're close to a family. You don't dangle a carrot over them, and then when they bite the carrot, just say, oh, you weren't supposed to do that. How could you? That was mine. How? Like, like
Yeah, that's
they
just
they don't
awful.
care. No, I'm so happy I'm out of there. They don't care. They don't. So I'll text you the name of the place and just never reference anybody there ever.
I think I'm good because I just don't do anything with gyms anyway, or gymnastics.
Gymnastics. I know, but if anybody asks or anybody's interested, steer them away clear, because they're not going to get as good of an experience as they think they will. And I know from experience, because I was there for a year and a half. I know what they do. I know what they've done behind the scenes. I have been there. They don't even really sanitize much either at
Nice.
all. We're in a pandemic. They've made me sanitize a gym twice during this whole pandemic. Twice.
Sick.
Yeah. And
I mean that in the literal sense too.
yeah. So it's not good over there. It's not. So that's my job experience, and I've had horrible kids, and I've been told I need to do better, even though it's not my fault that the kid won't listen to me and that the child will throw a fit and whatnot. That's not my fault, but it's okay. Anyways, I should move on from this. I've been talking about this for like 15 minutes now, but
It's the rant podcast. Let's
it's
go.
woo. But yeah, thank you for letting me get that out. That has been on my mind.
I can tell. That's fine. I don't care.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that place is not good. I'm not going to say their name because even though I'm under 18, by the time I turn 18, if they heard this, they would file a lawsuit against me because they are hungry for money.
It's sad. Chronic Mr. Krabs syndrome.
Yep. The world's smallest violin. Yeah. But yeah. So there's that.
Yeah, that does in fact seem to be a thing that happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this has been a lot of fun. That's for sure. I know I've said it a few times, but I've really enjoyed this.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I enjoyed this a lot too.
Yeah, feel free to have me on anytime, especially since I'm jobless now, so I'll have plenty of time. Yeah. And for anybody that needs babysitting, just contact Evan.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll contact him to get to me. Sorry, I'm just spreading out my word here.
You're starting a babysitting company.
I
Yeah, I'll
am.
ship you off to Mexico to babysit Rodrigo.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Except you have to pay for everything you get, and I get 90% of your earnings.
That sounds fair. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
has been great though. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, of course. I mean, this lasted longer than I think we both were thinking. 6:11 to 8:15. 2 hours. But hey, it was definitely fun, definitely worth it. Have me on at any time. Seriously, Evan. I enjoyed this a lot.
Alright, I will abuse that power.
Oh, please do. I don't mind. I'll accept the abuse. It's all good.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Time for the out of context clip. Someone's
Woof.
gonna make a twit longer. We're done for.
Oh no.
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 Don't worry. I don't think I'm big enough for someone to even think about tweeting.
No, and I don't care. I'll just move out to the middle of the woods. I really don't.
Oh no, my character has been
Right.
slandered.
Oh yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah. It's like, "Oh no." Anyway. Yeah, I don't care. Yeah.
that would be interesting though. Just seeing someone make a twit longer for like a podcast with 10 views.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd get more views, that's for sure.
But yeah. And people trying to go on a 2-hour podcast, at what point he said it, wasting 2 hours of their life. But
Oh,
hey,
that's true. I should make
yeah,
it.
they would have yeah.
I should make my own account and make a twit longer.
Yeah. You just make an own self-paid Twitter account. Who is this guy? He's faking everything. I bet you
Against
he's like,
Variety of Life podcast
yeah,
Twitter
against
account. The anti-VOL.
the anti-feel. Oh my gosh, that would be perfect. But anyways, I just realized I'm supposed to make dinner. It's 8:20 and I gotta make shrimp and
I
pasta.
just ordered Postmates.
I wish, but again, I'm jobless and nobody does Postmates anymore.
Unfortunate.
Yeah,
Hey,
Anthony made like $5 maybe a day or something doing Postmates.
I hear DoorDash pays really well, actually.
Oh, it pays amazing. When you can, Evan, definitely go into DoorDash. I think you would enjoy it.
See, the only problem is, I don't know if it would be enough to cover, like, the actual car, the maintenance on it.
Believe it or not, um, Anthony's brother does DoorDash like religiously every day, and he makes good money, like really good money. You just have to be consistent with
Yeah.
it.
The one of the reasons why I was thinking about that is because I really enjoy driving. It's actually relaxing to me.
Oh, I'm the same way. I love driving. I love it. It's relaxing for me too. It calms me down because I'm focusing on something other than my own feelings.
Exactly.
It's a good
You
distraction
don't
and
have
a
to
good
think.
no, you're right. Anyways, I should go. Anthony's probably starving because I
Ah,
was
let him
supposed
starve.
to dinner. Whoops.
Tough love.
Yeah, I still have to buy the shrimp too.
Oh, yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's okay. It shouldn't take long. Late night cooking.
Let's
Woo!
go. I love
Yeah.
cooking.
I love cooking too. It's so nice.
Yeah, it is. All right. Well, I won't hold you any longer if you need to buy the shrimp.
Thanks. I gotta buy. I'll let you know what shrimp I buy. I'll send you a photo.
Yeah, send me the picture of the exact shrimp
Yeah,
and
and
the
then you can
bag
put
number
it.
and the expiration date.
Yeah, and then you can put it in your podcast at the end, so you can be like, "This is the type. This is the shrimp Sarah bought for her shrimp Alfredo. Enjoy."
All right. You have a good week.
Thank you, and
I'll
you
see you.
too. I'll see you Wednesday. Thank you for
Bye.
having me on here. It's been fun.
Yes, and I'll wear the hat.
Please do. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. See you.
See ya.
That is the fourth episode, right? Well, thank you for watching this episode of the Variety of Life podcast. I will see you hopefully in 2 weeks when I'm not busy. Have a good one.